tasks such as commercial diving, marine biology, search and rescue, and military operations. Underwater work, where underwater workers face low visibility, spatial disorientation, and perceived threats. And this psychological failure under stress has real safety concerns. The thalassophobia is intense fear in the deep water. The symptom is racing heart, rapid breathing, nausea, sense of doom, and attachment. And from previous work, the previous work has shown that the fear of sea enhances simple tasks, interestingly, but it severely degrades the performance of the complex tasks. In literature and the applications in the industry, there has been simulation that has been used, underwater simulations for different purposes. So, for example, for entertainment, VR games, there was Ocean Rift and Subnautica, which prioritize passive immersion or jump scares, but not designed to isolate sensory modalities to investigate what type of feedback is most effective for inducing feedback. Clinical therapeutic applications. There was a critical therapeutic applications for the phobia that they used this underwater simulation for phobia exposure therapy, focused on symptom reduction, but not for professional training, pre-exposure training. In cultural and education, there was this application heritage dive and marine literacy, which had no focus on visitors and operation or training transfer. So thermal research systematically isolates how specific sensory modalities drive stress response for training purposes, especially underwater simulation. Our research objectives are as follows. First one was to compare the modality by measuring the relative contribution of auditory versus visual cues to perceive fear and presence in underwater VR. Second is inducing sustained anxiety by designing for anticipatory anxiety, not reflexive startup, to reflect the real underwater operation stressors. Lastly, to inform the design principles by extracting the actionable audio-visual design guidelines for stress and non-collision training tools. We use Unreal 5 and MetaQuest to develop the prototype, and for locomotions, we designed this seated water scooter type of locomotion interfaces where the users grab this water scooter with both controllers and then using the orientation of the controllers to change the direction. So, just like in many situations, the underwater workers would use the actual water scooter. And for the audio, all the audio were rendered as a spatial audio using the built-in Quest 3 speakers on the headset. And for the scenario, we create a scenario of deep sea investigator examining a sunken military cargo plane, and there were 4 illuminated waypoints: cockpit, engine, passenger area, and black box. And the plane rested on ease edge to emphasize the depth of vulnerability, to maximize more of this fear of the unknown, fear of the underwater. And the structure of the scenario was task-driven, which maintains, which we aim to maintain cognitive load during the stress exposure. These are the list of audio and visual cues. So for audio cues, we have low frequency rumbles. They express the large unseen creatures, which is of course delusional. Rex structural sounds, such as metal frame, The sound of the metal frame creaking underwater and ill vocalization position behind and below the users, stimulated heartbeat, rapid breathing, and all this audio cues were pre-recorded, and they're all spatial audios. Visual cues, we had with volumetric fog, limited lighting to restrict viewers' sightlines, and oversized bright geometry to maximize the human smallness and vulnerability. The vignette effect takes to intensify their high stress zones and also chromatic aberrations. Brief darkening simulation, brief darkening simulating dissociative response, and the ill counter. These are the captures, the in-game captures from the actual VR game. In the actual VR game, the visual looked, you can still see the silhouette of this plane wreck, but in the actual VR application, it was darker, it was bulkier, so that it will, it simulates the actual underwater scenery. And here is a giant moray eel passing through the window as the visual visuals. Also, which is a common symptoms of the thalassophobia. So when they're experiencing this, they see this delusional visions and audios, which intensify their symptoms. So we performed a pilot study with 12 people, and 9 people out of 12 have found audio more effective than visuals, and half of the participants identified honesty of eel sound as most fear-inducing among audio cues. And half the people identified the visual vignetting effect as a top stressor among visual cues. The design implications that we have found from this pilot study is that information scarcity and audio ambiguity should be prioritized than explicit visual threats to maximize the fear that's related to the deep water. So spatial audio and visual scarcity should be prioritized. Conclusion, so our future direction is as follows. So we are planning to consult with ocean engineers and marine biologists to validate the logical ability of stress design, incorporate real-time physiological sensing for customized biofeedback loops, and using the professional grade headphones to further enhance the spatial audio impact, which is the primary design of this underwater training applications. And also we try to add performance metrics such as task completion accuracy and decision latency under stress to evaluate our design.
Thank you, Jan-Pien. So are there any questions? Yeah, please.
Thanks for a great presentation, very interesting topic. So I'm a diver, and I know for sure that stress underwater is very closely connected to your breathing and buoyancy. So if you're stressed, you start hyperventilating, you consume oxygen more quickly, your lungs expand, and you will pop up, which can cause some danger situations and like bends and everything. So I know it's difficult because to simulate this physics, but do you plan in future work to address that to make it more realistic?
Yeah, that's actually a great point, which we have not considered yet, to be honest. We didn't get a chance to actually interview the people who work in that application domain. And I would love to talk to you after this session to learn more about the actual needs in terms of designing this underwater training. Thanks for sharing.
Yes, please. Do you plan on adding the haptic feedback with the audio and visual cues?
We have not considered incorporating the haptic feedback because there's too many design components that you can incorporate to simulate this underwater environment. Right? You can simulate, you can give like a thermal haptic feedback to give you the sensation of also different vibrations and so many things that you can do. And so we're not sure, and also based on the discussion that the panel has been done, I think we should first have this. We should first go through this stage of what components should be prioritized and in what fidelity. So I think that should be prioritized. That's a good thing before we actually start designing.
Yeah,
So, with the point of view, I would imagine that a diver would see the landscape through dive glasses. Would adding that add more accuracy or authenticity, or because it also limits your field of vision, right? And that also, as someone who's tried snorkeling, was an additional factor of fear because I couldn't see beyond a certain extent. So have you thought about incorporating that, or?
Not necessarily. It's just the natural, results of using the HMD that gives you the limited field of view. But I think that's a really interesting idea. But there is actually what is it? Event where the user experience reduced field of view in a certain timeline, but it was kind of like an arbitrary decisions that the student made, but it was not intentional that they experienced this vignetting effect based on, for example, based on their biological, data. But I think that'd be really interesting.
maybe later. We are here also to foster collaborations later. So for now, we thank you.